The Elementals of Harmony by fan of most everything. Chapter 8 Allies Assembling. Don't panic. That was the mantra Ditzy was silently repeating as he found herself alone in the infinite star-speckled void of space with the mare and the moon. Don't panic. As he filled her mind with the phrase, glancing across her psyche in big, friendly letters. It was preferable to thinking about the Ebon Alicorn, who was now looking at her bemusingly. I should think that my presence should surprise you, said Nightmare Moon. I know for a fact that the converse is true. She gave a brief start, then a startled laugh. Oh, listen to me. I must sound like a zebra. This stopped Ditsy's reaction cold. The Queen of Everlasting Night making casual conversation, laughing at herself. Here ongoing was heck the what? The Pegasus swallowed nervously and ate down. As you say, your Calidus Majesty. This was met with a larger smile. Oh, your Calidus Majesty. I rather like that one. I'll have to remember it. The Mistress of Eternal Darkness sat, putting her eye to eye with her target. Oh, do relax, my little pony. I'm not going to bite. If one was generous, one could describe Dizzy's response as to sitting down. Those more concerned with accuracy would say that her knees gave out. Forgive my impudence, old reckoning of sanity, but you seem less... The male pony racked her vocabulary for a diplomatic way to end that sentence. Nightmare Moon did it for her. Enraged, Frenchman. A saint and a drunken Draconicus. Stop me at any time, dear. I could go on for days. How about intimidating? Terrible, but still accurate. The Empress of the Void gave another smile. Well, for one, spend 1,000 years on a truly desolate wasteland with only yourself for company, and you'll see how sane you are upon your return. For another, ponies these days are no longer quite sunset with bedtime. My nights are generally appreciated now. I even have cults. Do you have any idea how much fun it is to have a cult dedicated to you? It's like having the most adorable fan club filled with ponies who would do anything and they would make it happy. Huh. Dizzy could offer nothing more coherent, her brain still stuck on Nightmare Moon saying the word adorable, without a hint of sarcasm or irony. Oh, sir, the incident night would be nice, but it really doesn't feel necessary anymore, you know. My work isn't ignored anymore, it's adored. Really, balancing the sun would be guiding the lily at this point. A question nagged at the Pegasus' mind. If I may ask, well, why are you still here? This brought out a indulgent smirk that Celestia would recognize as number 61. Student laboring under understandable misapprehension. Tell me, young Ditzy dear lady. Tell me, young Ditzy, what is the nature of Nightmare Moon? The Pegasus mulled this over. She had only seen the tyrant at the furthest reaches briefly during the summer sun celebration, and her monocyte had mostly shown an amorphous blob of night sky. Now, all she could see was an alicorn of deepest black, garbed in regalia of silver and steel, with only her mane matching Ditsy's memory. Finally the blonde admitted, I don't know. Well, not surprising. The slit-pupiled princess said this neutrally, an observation rather than an indictment. The most learned sages of Canterlot have formulated countless hypotheses that try to answer the question. The nightmare is parasite into soul. The nightmare was planted into Luna's mind by discord. The nightmare is Luna, as he plots a coup against her after her sister's skin. The unicorn noticed the unease this last one gave Ditzy. Which gave what she had hoped a reassuring smile and added, They're long, especially the last. The green mare relaxed a little. So, what are you? Nightmare Moon shrugged. A feat made easier with an impressive wingspan. It's not a question to which I have given much thought. If I had to guess, I would call myself the new moon to Luna's full. The same thing, only darker. I thought you said you are her theory was wrong. Oh, make no mistake. As far as I can tell, I am she and she is me and we are us. And we're all together cuckoo cuckoo. But neither of us wants to overthrow Celestia. Not anymore. Dizzy was now deep in thought. Dizzy had largely forgotten where and with whom she was. So, what did the elements of harmony do, exactly? The Black Race's gaze wandered to some distant point in the endless expanse. They gave me something that I would never expected through another medium. The only things that could quench my rage and restore my sanity. What? The smile on the nightmare's muzzle was uncannily like Celestia's. Maternal, wise, and unquestionably sincere. Love and tolerance. The Pegasus could only think of one response to something so profound. Huh? It might not seem like much, but friendship is really magic. And the most potent one at that. The elements of the ultimate expression of that magic. Woot. Nightmare Moon looked up at some sign only she could see. It appears that this little tete-a-tete is drawing to a close. Dizzy had a hunch that learning how the alicorn would take more time than she had left. Thus she simply rose and bowed. Thank you for a most enlightening audience, Your Highness. The Dark Noble still wore a smile so uncannily like her sister's. Like you, Ditsy Do, for bringing some variety to my existence. She faded into the atmospheric background, and one by one the stars began to wink out. As they did, a shadowy surface came to view beneath Ditsy. The stars that hadn't vanished grouped together in the east. They resolved themselves into the sun and displayed not like the biggest flashbulb in the universe. The Pegasus recognized the gently rolling hills to the north of Ponyville. She also recognized that Dinky, Trixie, and Luna were all staring at her. What? You collapsed once we materialized, explained the Showmare. We have been unresponsive for nearly a minute, added the Night Princess. Dinky seemed far less concerned after the Pegasus had come to. Mommy was just thinking. Mare couldn't help but smile. She ruffled her daughter's mane and said, That's right. Mommy was finishing up her master plan to save Ponyville from monsters. Young Unicorn reared back in excited delight. Coolest mommy of all time! She raced towards the town, crying, Monster beware! Here comes my mommy! I swear this voice is going to kill me one day. Dizzy's maternal nerve was interrupted by a pair of skeptical stares. You were brain dead on your hooves, Luna stated. I was about to resort to electroshock. What really happened? The Pegasus queried. Somehow, she didn't see the knowledge that Nightmare Moon still lurked somewhere in the younger princess would go over well. I promised to tell you when we had the time, but right now, I get to go keep an eye on my daughter. She took wing before Luna could ask more authoritatively. Tracy swallowed the lump that had become increasingly low in her regal tutor. We should probably follow Your Highness. Good, the princess answered instantly. We shall arrive in our own time. Lumping back with a vengeance. The blue unicorn gave a low brow. As you will. She then ran for the town like her tail was on fire. Luna rarely employed the royal we anymore, and when she did, there tended to be rather spectacular meteor showers the following night. Red House to the Bookfoot! Come in, Bookfoot! The response crackled in her crustacean headset. This is Bookfoot, reading you loud and clear, Red Lobster. I'll be getting the final sleep, the theme convention. All angles confirmed. In the base. Twilight hesitated for a moment. Be careful, Rarity. The pilot couldn't help but give a courteous grin at this. Codenames while I'm in the cockpit, dear. It needs to be final sensor suite. The Velocity was, like its pilot, lightly armed, but highly sensitive to even the tiniest detail. Just beneath the jet's streamlined fuselage lay countless sensors capable of extracting virtually any conceivable information. Also, like its pilot, the plane was capable of breathtaking grace and poise, slipping over enemy territory, wholly unnoticed 9 times out of 10. A sudden lurch made it clear that this was not one of them. Red Lobster! I've lost stars for tornadoes 4 and 5! They're showing nothing but polka dots! The every unicorn felt her blood chilled. Tachyon weapons. Tachyons. The elementary particles of ugliness were one of the Fabulosity's greatest weaknesses. If Rarity didn't get out of range soon, her beloved scout plane would be reduced to unspeakably hideous scrap. Oh, she would just die! After a moment, she realized that she would probably die, what with the crash and all. In any case, despite the twin threats of death and plaid, none of Rarity's fears showed in her voice or her piloting. "I'll face him of us!" she said, as calmly as she would order a cafe. "This is gazing for sleep." She bobbed and weaved, countering the brutest bursts of acid green and dayglow pink with elegant sloops and dives. Even as the skies grew choked with the smoke of vaporized polyester, the Furiosity was a threaded needle, waving its way to safety. "Nearly there," the pilot muttered to herself. as if summoned by the temptation of fate. A Nagadai shell struck the plane directly. The aircraft was nearly torn in half. Shards of the rock candy fuselage raining on the battlefield like sugar diamonds. Every screen and radio in the cockpit went blank. Twilight's frantic cries cried out, and the gravity expressed its displeasure with Rarity's current altitude. Despite all this, the unicorn was smiling. Oh, it was by no means a pleased or satisfied smile. It was the manic rictus of a pony with nothing left to lose, ready to strike the max away and ignite a blaze of glory. Passcode, Marshmallow, Omega, 1, 2, 3, 5! Cataclysm, emergency, engaged. Goodbye. Verity closed her eyes. Goodbye, fabulosity! A feeling of inner peace swelled in her breast. By setting the magical reactor of the plane to overload, her final act would bring 50 kilotons of style to these ungrateful brutes. I should probably intervene now. What? Reggie looked around, mystified. That voice had been far more masculine than the pre-recorded lines that our dear little jet was programmed to produce. Well, if I waited any longer, I can't imagine what it would be pleasant for either of us. Who's there? Idly, the unicorn noted that gravity had a change of heart, stopping her mid-crash. Hi, sis! Sweetie Belle. Possibly enough, little sister was on top of her head. Well, this is a really cool dream. I'm gonna have to tell Skibbly about this. But it's just supposed to be. Somewhere in the Fascinator's mind, a baton was passed from subconscious to conscious. This is a dream. Everything but Sleebell became progressively grayer and duller. Yes, and now it is time to wake up. Years in the past. Dizzy squirmed, not willing to wake up yet. Dizzy paused as her drowsy mind determined what wasn't quite right. Well, for one, it was definitely colder than normal. Maybe there was a rogue cold front. It was definitely early in spring, after all. No, wait, she couldn't feel her comforter, and her bed was far firmer than normal, totally unlike any clouds she ever felt. Then there was some rare itch in her hair. Everything just felt off. But why? Ah, good. You're waking up. Who's that? Why couldn't Dizzy open her mouth and ask who that was? Why couldn't she open her eyes, either? Oh, Celestia, why couldn't she move at all? Please remain calm. You've just gone through a highly traumatic experience. It would be best to ease you back into consciousness. The Pegasus thought to control herself to listen to the voice. It was a calm, confident voice. The voice knows what it's doing. Steady, even breaths. Don't think about what the voice is talking about. Now, I'm going to... Don't think about anything traumatic that night that might have happened recently. Don't think about how you got home and Dad's boss showed up. Don't think about Dad's hat, singed with lightning. Don't think about how it may be the biggest piece of him they could find. Don't think about how you'll never ever find him again. Oh, come on, you're doing so well. Don't think about it. 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 Dizzy squirmed, neither ready or willing to wake up quite yet. Dizzy paused as her drowsy mind tried to determine the origin of an odd feeling of deja vu. Good. You're awake. Now, let's try this again. Again? What was the strange pony talking about? Wait. Why couldn't she? Before you panic, know that I'm keeping you still so I can ease you to wakefulness. This is going to come as a big shock to you, and I think you'd like to have something left of your sanity after we're through. Okay, so you can deal with this. The pony was keeping her still, as he couldn't feel any restraints, so he had to be using magic. That meant he was a unicorn. That, plus the uncloudiness of whatever she was resting on, meant she was on the ground. What he was saying probably wasn't reassuring her, but it made sense. She lived in Cloudsdale all her life. Closer sorrow was probably best taken slowly. You seem to be taking this well. Good. I'll free up eye control for you. Dizzy's eyes opened. She had to blink furiously a few times to adjust to the sudden burst of sunlight. Wow, she must have been out for a while. In any case, this was the surface, huh? Not much to look at, really. A big old puddle, a lake as she corrected herself, surrounded by bare rock, and beyond that, there was no beyond that. The Pegasus reflectively checked her eternal altimeter, unreliable though it was. Still, she was able to determine that she was definitely not at sea level. A mountain, then. Did the mountains have lakes? You began to panic again. Please, calm down. We are presently airborne. This is what is called a sky reservoir. Think of a very high-density cloud. Oh, sure. Never mind that this cloud happened to have an arrow-shell stone. Wait, did that unicorn just read her mind? Well, no surprise, really. If she was somewhere near where they could make rocks fly, unicorns must be something else. You flatter me. Magically speaking, I'm nothing special. My ability to follow your surface thoughts comes by the same means by which I'm keeping you from moving. Speaking of which, do you feel up to standing? Yes, please! Dizzy was rather surprised at the urgency of that thought. She hadn't realized how much this complete motionless was getting to her until now. She was a Pegasus. She was made for wide open skies. This restraint was just plain wrong! Done. Go ahead. She did. Stretching out the various kinks and cramps that had come from Celestia knows how long spent without moving. Alright. Before you act next, allow me to assure you that I mean absolutely no harm. Dizzy assumed as much. Now she found herself wondering. Now then, turn around, please. Feeling increasingly ill at ease, she did so. What had been behind her was not a unicorn, she thought. Instead, it was a creature out of fairy tales. The antagonist of everything from Three Little Geese to Little Gliding Hood, her costume and choice last nightmare night. It was a human. Dizzy quickly discovered he was unable to scream, producing a light hiss of an imitation of a crowd noise. The human sighed. Wonderful. Look, I have no intention of doing any of the things you're imagining, especially not stabbing you and drinking your blood. Honestly, do I look like a vampire to you? The Alice Pony had to admit, the ape thing certainly didn't seem very threatening beyond being a human. It seemed almost, well, sad, somehow. A sort of sadness it didn't notice. Her heart went out to the creature. At least it did until she noticed his right arm. Dizzy learned that the beast had paralyzed her wings again at some point. What? This little thing? The human looked at the assembly of twisted metal as though it just now noticed it. So the race where I come from. That's nice, the pony thought of the abomination before her. Could you please let me use my tongue? Oh, of course. My apologies.
No problem,
she said reflexively.
Well, yes, there is. You're not gonna slave me, eat me, or do anything else out of the stories, right?
Nothing of the sort.
Okay, fine. So, what will you do with me?
Give you a better welcome to the multiverse than what I got.
The what now?
The multiverse. The human gestured. A golf ball-sized blob of metal rose out of the water. Dizzy wondered how long she had been out of her captor and had time to prepare visual aids. Suppose that this sphere is your world of Equestria. A series of similarly sized balls joined the arrest as Equestria. An open sphere the size of a pony's head made from twisted wire came last. The balls found their way inside. While the ball is to scale, it's a passable representation of your home universe, what we call a plane.
Home universe?
I know it's quite a bit to take in. We really did sympathize. His expression didn't show it. It had barely shifted from mild disinterest the entire time Dizzy had been looking at him. But yes, this is your plane, known through the wider multiverse as Ungula. It is but one of an infinite array of worlds spread throughout the multiverse. I am what is known as a planeswalker, able to move between them. So too are you.
What?
It wasn't a question. This inflates statement of incredulity. So much that Dizzy laid down her spinning head to make her fall off the lip of the reservoir. I found you between planes. You had just exited Ungala rather violently. The pony thought for a time how to respond. Finally, she settled on a rather basic question.
So, where are we now?
A plane known as Ravnica. Nice place, if you like the cities. If not, well, you're out of luck. Dizzy nodded, understanding little.
Okay, now what?
Now? Well, now that I've saved your life, I think you owe me a favor, and I know exactly what you can do. Dinky charged forward, fueled by the energy of youth and limitless confidence in her mother. After all, she was a Pegasus who could use magic, and she knew how to make super awesome chocolate chip pumpkin muffins. Beating up a few lousy monsters would be false play for her.
Dinky, stop!
The filly skated to a halt, looking to see her mother slipping down to her. She was confused for a moment, then shook her head at her own foolishness.
Sorry, Mommy. I really ran off before you could tell me my part of the plan.
Dinky gave an eager grin.
So, what will I be doing? Do I get a sword? A magic sword? Does the sword make puppies again?
We're not getting a puppy, Dinky.
Aww.
And your part of the plan is to stay safe and far away as possible from the fighting.
Aww.
Dizzy's hair will vilify her heart. They found a compromise, and the Pegasus slipped her daughter into a tremendous hug.
I need to know you're going to be okay, Muffin. or I'll be so busy worrying about you that I won't be able to stop the monsters.
The young unicorn processed this for a moment before signing in resignation.
Okay, I guess.
Her expression returned to the bright, hopeful smile.
But can you at least bring home a monster?
That prompted a smile to contrast Dizzy's imminent tears.
I'll see what I can do, Muffin. Now, please, promise me you'll go straight to Auntie Carrot's and stay there. Yes, Mommy.
And the monsters show up there, run.
Okay, Mommy.
Reluctantly, Dizzy took the air again.
I'll see you soon. Diggy waved goodbye. Good luck.
Sniffling still, the gray mare made her way to the outskirts of town proper. She couldn't see any sign of the elementals, but the entire town seemed wrapped in multicolored haze. There was some serious magic going on down there.
So, what's this I heard about a plan? Dizzy sighed. Hello, Trixie.
Unicorn walked to her side.
I only ask because I assume you went over it while I was still expunging your hideous little cantrip from my memory. You don't plan on going Yucca anytime soon, do you?
The snowman essayed to strut.
I hold grudges. I'm working on it. So, plan. The plan is telling my feeling that I have a plan, so she'll trust me to take care of things and keep herself out of harm's way. After that, I'll play it by ear. So, we have no plan whatsoever. Yep!
Trixie looked at the faces. Assuming one eye was pointing at her immense he could be seen, she made an incredulous face.
Why are you the leader of this little farce again? Because I'm the only one in the entire universe who knew it was coming and knows what it is. Do you know how to fix it? Working on that part!
With that, Dizzy closed her eyes. The showman was about to deliver another verbal barb when her horn began to jingle.
What are you doing? Working on that part.
Pegasus expanded her senses, examining how the metaphorical landscape of Ployingville had changed since the advent of the elementals. When she stumbled upon one such gem, she stopped a better and laughed.
Wow, really? Really? What is it? You wouldn't understand,
Dizzy said idly, confirming our observation.
Oh,
Sniffed Trixie.
Something about jet streams or pressure differentials or some such. No. Magic. What?
Dizzy blinked. One moment she'd been looking into town's overfed ley lights. Next, her view was full of the indignant mare.
You dare imply that the great and powerful Trixie, student of Her Royal Highness Princess Luna, would not comprehend the mysteries of the arcane?
The gray pony gave the same pace and smile she used for dinky tantrums.
Have you ever heard of Talaria?
Trixie deflated with an almost subtle push of hot air.
Talaria? I was thinking to tell you the story of the silly old pony who blew up time. It's one of her favorites.
Dizzy closed her eyes, beginning to establish a monobond to an especially swollen nexus of energy.
For now, all you need to know is that there was once an academy there, not like Celestia's, and it was a potent source of magical power for those who possessed many magical items. So, Carousel Boutique has become something similar, and I have quite a few enchanted curios in my attic.
The blonde mare opened her eyes. They were solid ovals of blue luminescence.
Next stage to the plan, reconnaissance.
Trixie opened her mouth to comment on the sudden existence of a plan, but found herself speechless as Dizzy's spellcraft proceeded. The blue light spitted out the Pegasus' eye sockets like a soap foam from a bubble wand. 2 by 2, the spears separated themselves from the billowing energy. Once half a dozen orbs of light had formed, the Creator's eyes went back to normal. She smiled with a unique sense of fulfillment that comes from a well-spelled, well-cast. The unicorn finally found her voice.
What are these things? These, answered Jitsi, are probes.
As he spoke, a golden film of energy settled onto a place in a particular patch of each probe, giving them the appearance of floating eyes. She continued,
I send her out whenever I travel somewhere needed to get a sense of the place, lay of the land, local customs, that sort of thing. I see.
Tracy had never seen a spell like this before. Instantly, she poked the nearest eye with a hoof. It was firm, yet yielding, like the stress toy her Nocturnal Majesty had given her.
So, what will you do with them now? Find each elemental, see what it is, what's it doing, and let's obvious its weaknesses it might have.
With a thought, Dizzy brought the milieu to formation in front of her. Each one, the blue mare noted, was more or less looking in the direction of its mistress, but his gaze was slowly drifting out in seemingly random direction.
You know you're assigned targets, said the planeswalker. Seek 'em out!
The sphere sped off towards town, two of them splitting out to head for different parts of the outskirts. Tracy sat down. She tried to disguise her awe with nonchalance.
So, I suppose we wait for them to report back then.
The Grey Mare nodded, still looking at Ponyville.
It won't take long. I got a passive mental link to them. If I focus, I can see what they see, and they can tell me when I should focus.
Suddenly, her ears perked up.
Like now!
An awkward silence followed this exclamation. Well, awkward for Trixie, at least. Eventually, she uttered,
So, could you...
Dizzy, who had now been utterly motionless, giving gas and was
Out's belly to go. What happened? What? Oh, Trixie! The princess grinned sheepishly. Sorry, guess I got lost in my own head there.
The Shellmare rolled her eyes. She wanted answers, not apologies.
What happened? Well, I sent this e-probe to the home of one of the bears of the elements. The one that went to Twilight Sparkle told me to follow its feed. Twilight Sparkle! Trixie sprang to her hose at the name. What has he done? What manner of menace has he unleashed? How can we thwart her foul union?
Dizzy considered several reactions before settling in concern.
That's just the thing. I didn't see a magic elemental. I didn't even see Twilight. Once the probe got close enough to the library, it was torn apart.
The Blue Mare was aghast.
What could do that? High ambient magic. My probes are basically constant energy, kept stable by being much more magical than their surroundings. In a strong enough magic field, they basically dissolve.
She noted the terror this brought to her audience.
Of course, it only happens to something made of pure energy. We'd be fine.
Trixie relaxed a little.
Ah, well, so I suppose my heart's rival and her new pet will have to remain a mystery for the time being.
Tastefully, the blonde chose not to correct any of the misapprehensions in that sentence.
Actually, that kind of intensity means that the magic elemental hasn't formed yet.
This prompted a look at the light from the unicorn.
Even better, we can stop her before she even gets started. We still have 5 others to worry about.
Dizzy paused for a moment to check the probes.
I found 2 of them. Do you see the pink building that looks like a wedding cake?
Trixie scanned her eyes for a moment, then grimaced.
As much as I wish I couldn't. Yuck. A rather docile seeming entity is in there. See if we can still do it.
Ever the performer, the silver-maned mare held up her head high.
Not to worry. I shall make it rue today. That's a great and powerful trick. Good. If I end up needing help, I should be easy to find.
With that, Dizzy took the air. Trixie watched her fly off, then carefully swept the immediate area for any witnesses. Satisfied, she allowed herself a pout and whispered,
Me!
Before heading off to her objective. I would just like to say,
Ha ha, Trixie! Trixie Slayers. If you keep this up, you will be getting a mic layer.
setting up, a great and powerful one. Scootaloo was not having an awesome morning. The toaster had reduced her breakfast to charcoal. Dad had mentioned not having to go shopping for school supplies, and Mom had said something about sending her for ballet classes. The Orange Coat Philly didn't care how much strength and agility dancing needed. The tutus were a deal breaker. But they just led to her mother getting weepy-eyed about her Tom Colwood daughter, and moaning about something involving cats, parades, and carpets. It all went over the foal's head, but Dad seemed to find it hilarious. Hopefully, things would improve now that Scootaloo was away from the drama queen. All she had to do was get the other Equestrians for end of summer cutie mark attempts, assuming she didn't first run away from... Get away from me, you little...
Rainbow Dash!
The filly gazed up in adoration, seeing her hero performing incredible feats of aerial agility. This is like Dad's performing just for her. It took a moment for the other presents to register, given Scootaloo's fantastic tunnel vision. It seemed to be following the best young flyer turn, loop for loop, indeed, rather than reveling in her own athletic prowess. Dad seemed to be performing acrobatics of evasive maneuvers. But did it make any sense? Why would the living embodiment of awesome be running from a cloud? Indeed, what kind of cloud could even move on its own? Let's keep up with the Rainbow Dash. Not even the Everfree Forest could. Scootaloo's brain cut off this train of thought to devote all his cognitive power to basking in the glory of a buccaneer blaze. Once the organ rebooted, it alerted its owner that her idol was landing right in front of her. The fan filly immediately took hold of the opportunity.
Hi, Rainbow Dash!
Deciding Pegasus, exhausted from her attempts to shake the living thundercloud, offered a weary smile.
Hey!
Seaman's between pants. The winged Equestria took a deep breath, ready to bombard Das with admiration. However, before she could bid, her expression shifted to one of frightened confusion.
What is that thing?
Das bit back a groan and looked back behind her. Sure enough, there was the freaky rainbow cloud. She fought the increasing, appealing temptation to collapse. All that effort and nothing to show for it.
I don't know, she grumbled, but it won't leave me alone.
Skulu looked at the thing with new eyes, followed some point everywhere, copying the pony's appearance. That pony didn't know who, well, or why. The foal's eyes narrowed.
Oh, hey, no.
What's that now, Scoots? Chested the air Pegasus. You never know when a parent might be in earshot. Dad smirked eternally. Who says he was a bad influence? Still, her hard-won life lesson went unheeded.
Das, said the filly, I think I can help you with your problem.
The rainbow mare raised an eyebrow. I appreciate the offer, but I don't think you're going to get a cutie mark for dealing with annoying weather. Once again, Skulu wasn't listening. Instead, she was staring into the glowing clouds of rainbow flame that served as the elemental's eyes. The loyalty elemental, an insolent massive emotional magic energy, loosely bound to a nebulous form, had nothing as sophisticated as a language. What Skulu attempted to do went beyond language. More accurately, it went beneath language, into a particular stretch of the misty depths of the unconscious. It was known to a select few, and dismissed as many as myth, or at least a collective hallucination. Few scholars who knew the truth call it the fan mind, an empathetic connection born of enthusiasm and desire for a common subject. The fan mind was turned into a horde of screaming adolescents, into a pack of ruthless predators, bent on overwhelming their common prey. Now, it was serving as the means of communication between Rainbow Dash's most obsessed devotees. Skulu brought herself into a charging pose. Head down, legs tense, wing flared.
She is mine.
The elemental spread its arms wide, the constant clouds buzzing. Arcs of multicolored lightning darts around it, leaving behind familiar aftermoons in the pink filly's vision. I am hers. The pony considered this for a moment. Was soon a proud and erect posture, appearing to imitate a royal guard. One eyebrow slowly rose. We could. Twin fireballs worse for the aspirated sockets. Agreed. Ironically, Death felt sorely out of her element. She could tell something was going on. Indeed, some hint of understanding itched at the base of her brain. Still, she had no real grasp of what was happening. When the thing had been following her all morning, cowed down before Skulu of all ponies, it only served her consolation. Ditto, said Philly, jumping onto his shoulders, her mane moving into a purple parody of Pinky's mane in process. Everything became clear after the cloud straightened up. Mostly because it's hard to misinterpret some pony pointing at you and shouting, Get her! Spike greeted the day with a tremendous, jaw-cracking yawn. Then he paused for a moment, because there had been far more cry to the yawn than he anticipated. Furthermore, hadn't he been molting? Certainly he hadn't been able to open his mouth last time, trapped as it had been under the dead scales. He wasn't been able to open his eyes, but he did now. A quick self-assessment also marked the difference since the last molt. It had been similar to a shedding snake, dazzling trapped within the pale shell of his old scales, until he squirmed out through the mouth. Now it looked like he had tried to put on more clothes he had long outgrown. The old lawyer torn apart joints and sifted in physiognomy. Spike moved to the vanity to get a better view. Those shoes just proved to be major indeed. His muzzle protruded a bit more. His tail was slightly, but noticeably longer. His proportions were more mature and less infantile. He had definitely gained at least an inch or two in height, and so the crest along his cheeks and top of his head had grown fully. They seemed sharper, less rotund. The young dragon gave his reflection a roguish grin. Looking there, good there, Spike. Looking good. Of course, being the mature fellow that he was, it goes without saying that Spike did not giggle in delight at this fulfillment. He also didn't jump up and down in glee, nor did he make various poses in the mirror. Nope, didn't do anything in that. Once the mature young CCM dragon was done, with very definitely not indulging his vanity, he noticed something else in the mirror. A large lump in his boss, big sister, Surrogate's bed. Spike felt a surge of both affection and dread. I hope she took care of herself while I was out of commission, he whispered. I said go talk to the other girls. Make sure of it. His visit aside, he stole purposely out of the library. Hasley then came to a stop, since a ring of ponies had surrounded books and branches. First, Spike tried to slip through the circle, but the ponies were shoulder to shoulder. He wasn't quite as tiny as he still thought he was. After insinuation came diplomacy. "Excuse me," he said to the nearest member of the barricade, a blue-coated unicorn stallion. "Could I get through?" The unicorn gave no indication he had heard anything. Indeed, save for the slight rise and fall of his chest and the occasional blink, he gave no indication he was alive. He just stood in place, directing a glazed stare at the tree. Still, Spike had been raised by Twilight Sparkle, and nothing else. Then upbringing had instilled in him two values: persistence and a faith in the problem-solving power of experimentation. Thus, the dragon repeated this one-sided conversation with more points before giving a frustrated sigh. "I've had better conversations with Alicious." "Who?" "Oh, don't you start." Spike cut himself off. Twilight's number 2 assistant was on vacation. This meant a silent pony had actually reacted to him. A close scan of the crowd revealed one pony who seemed a bit less catatonic than the rest. Even better, it was one he recognized from her frequent adventures in the library. "Lyra!" Okay, so we have Ditzy, Lyra, and Trixie. That's 3 down, 3 to go. Wait, Gary Topless mentioned 4. We only got 2 more. Although I have my doubts Raindrops will show up. Mainly because Raindrops is such a unnoticeable background pony. Even though, technically, I think she's popped up in the background almost as many times as Ditzy. Seriously, I think she's been almost as many episodes as Ditzy has, if not more. Green Mare slowly tore her gaze from the building. "Spike, hi!" Less catatonic was clearly a relative term here. Her eyes were unfocused, and the dumpy smile was certainly nothing like her deadly serious expression during her private research. Still, the dragon didn't need much. "Hey, do you think you could move for a sec? I've been asleep for days, and I'd like to catch up with Rarity and the others. And Rarity." "Move?" Her blank expression made it clear that even the thought of leaving the spot was inconceivable. Fortunately, while Twilight had raised Mike, he was in many ways her complement. Nowhere was that more marvelous than socialization. He made a point of remembering the library's more frequent customers, since it was fairly obvious that nobody else was going to. Thus, he knew one tactic guaranteed to work on Lyra. "Wouldn't you like to go and tell Bon Bon about how great you think this place is?" "Bon Bon!" The unicorn blinked, then guessed, "Bon Bon, you're right, she'll love this. I gotta go get her." She awkwardly backed up, pressed as she was against her neighbors. Persistently, Spike followed close in front of her. Once both had extruded themselves, the ring of ponies moved closer until the tree and its constituents were again flank to flank. Hasley looked back as he pursued his walk to Carousel Boutique. They gave a stride. Ponies, go figure. Never dared to occur to him why every pony was entranced by the library was a unicorn. Marion Mare had been mayor of Ponyville for nearly 20 years, running on a platform of experience, minimal government interference, and no pony else wanting the job. It was widely agreed that she had mental talents of maintaining peace and order on the edge of the Everfree Forest, as best as any pony could. Oh sure, there was the occasional minor disaster, and the less said about when to wrap up the better. But the day-to-day operation of the town went more smoothly than she had dared to hope. Really, if the worst thing that could be said of a town within walking distance of the infamous wood was an annual logistical snafu, then the pony in charge clearly knew what she was doing. In few instances, this was more clear than when she walked onto her front porch, beheld Pinkie Pie atop the love child of a hydra and a balloon animal, simply turned around, walked back inside, and locked her door.
Huh,
Mused Pinkie after this episode.
I wonder what that was about.
The latter elemental crackled to death, but offered nothing constructive.
Pinkie!
The party pony perked up upon hearing her name, but found no obvious source. Worse, it had echoed to the point where there wasn't even an obvious direction where it's to look. Of course, the recourse was obvious.
Hello!
She called, falsely enunciated the tide.
Over here!
This time the cry was much clearer. Pinkie turned to her left and spotted a rapidly approaching Pegasus. She grinned and waved, recognizing the voice.
Hi, Ditzy!
The air mare didn't respond until she got closer, enough to a more approachable volume.
Pinkie, hi! Did you have fun in Canterlot? It's a shame you couldn't be here because you've been so proud of how Twilight handled the mail. No, I guess if you worked here, she wouldn't need to handle it. But still, she was all like, Des, I need your best flyer. And Des was like, no, I need my best flyers. And Twilight said, Princess Celestia is counting on me to deliver the mail. And Daisy said, the plants are all counting on me to deliver the ring. And Twilight, the poopy mare pony was abruptly cut off by the sudden disappearance of her mouth. She inquisitively ran a hoof over her face. Yep, smooth, unbroken skin. Ha ha ha! Irony. I'm sorry to interrupt, Ditzy began, white glow fading in her eyes, but I need you to listen for a second. This thing you're writing is weakening the foundations of reality simply by existing. You need to... The elemental's yellow head interjected with a painful-looking headbutt, sending the Pegasus rocketing towards the ground. She barely managed to pull up enough to turn it into a furrowed, chewing slide along the thoroughfare. Pinky was clearly displeased by this, judging by her expression and the sheer volume of the indistinct sounds coming from her sealed jaw. The jumping up and down the entity's head was also probably a tip-off. At least until she bounced it off of it like a trampoline. Surprised by the bigger bounce, she couldn't react before landing on the crowd-like upper jaw of the blue head. The blue earth pony sat up just in time to see the crimson balloon she had dubbed Trollface give the harshest, cruelest laugh she ever heard. Directly, and quite obviously at her. That torrent. This thing hurt her friend. She clearly didn't care about any pony's feelings, and hadn't even applauded after her musical number. Such thoughtless cruelty could not be tolerated! Growling, Pinky performed a breathless series of bounces off the inflated heads, coming to a stop at Ditsy's side. She felt an odd, itchy sensation as her lips respirated. You okay, Ditsy? I'm fine, came the Rarity's response. My face took most of the impact. Good! Now, what is it that I had to do this thing? God, the story. Sorry. No other. It was a good thing that Ditsy head was still somewhat wet in the earth. The grin that grew on Pinky's face was not something that should be seen by the sane. Don't worry, I got this! The Pegasus pulled herself up into a sitting position and turned to ask how, but she got out, huh, before everything exploded. To Mana's sight, the world became suddenly a photonegative. Other elementals' bubbly faces were reshaped into 3 different flavors of horror, suffering, inexplicably wreathed in acid green flames. The world had been transmuted into a cracked, glowing sheet of igneous rock, seething and steaming with volcanic potential. Worst was Pinkie Pie. Her colors hadn't been inverted, simply deepened, going from cotton candy to blood. Her mane and lip matted with vital fluid. Her eyes and mouth oozed the black ichor. Her tongue rolled out of her mouth, a vivid slab of raw scarlet meat against its starlight backdrop. All the while, a single word echoed through Ditsy's mind. Salgo. A second later, the entire town returned to normal, save for 2 exceptions. First, the latter elemental was clearly dead. Its head popped and its body dissolving into flakes of ash. Second, there was a pony hovering above Pinky, apparently through the use of a propeller beanie. Who are you? Ditsy asked the newcomer. Existency coordinates, abilities, and cheese cans. Details at Pie. Understandably, that didn't answer her question. The Pegasus turned to Pinky for something more coherent. What just happened? Noodle Squad recently fondled. Not you! Your funny smile. Oh, real simple. See, when an avatar discord enters the battlefield, I have to sack it unless I discard 2 cards. I went with Anchor to give her haste and Fiery Temper so I could cast a Fire Madness. So now the latter elemental's dead and we've got a 5-3 flyer to take on the others. Dizzy took a moment to parse this as best he could. Then another. And then by the third, he decided to latch onto one of the few things he understood. From what I've heard, an avatar of discord is a shadow cast by the demon right close to the filer. Psst! Yeah, well, I'm Ravnica, Piggy replied, totally insinuating this was the only slightly obvious than water being wet. Here, do you end up looking like her? She grinned as he looked up at the peculiar purple pony. I call her Screwball. Screwball gave to Pegasus a mid-air bow. Would you like a chocolate milk of glass? This was all too much for Ditsy. Who are you? Pegasus' breast had turned solemn. I'm Ravnica. I am the nameless patron totem of Rakshafal, the cruel festival of spontaneous vandalism. As Zekavola, I am apocalypse given flesh, accidental flattener of civilizations. I'm Kamigawa. I am Picky, Kami of accurate poetry and octopus hats. Ona, queen mother of the fairies of Loren, reminds me of the pony who tried to eat her. Nicholas Ballas, Elder Dragon Planeswalker, announces me as the one being who has withstood his touch with sanity on chains. I'm Rakul, the Aeon's Torn, she of the 6,000 Tentacles of Annihilation, considers me her therapist.
A smile returned to her face, but this was not a circle-philomaniac grin. It was the confident smirk of a being who had been almost everywhere and tried virtually everything. Twice in some cases.
So he concluded, I am Piggy Pie. I am a planeswalker, and I am on your side.
This is, as usually, is the best course of action with Pinkie Pie. This he decided to self-request as it does go with it.
You know, I think we can actually do this.
Both ponies turned to behold a behemoth, legs in shape of the size of a century oaks, the head and apple size of a house. A tiny horse mud was just the top of his crown. Yeehaw!
Maybe.
You got a new card! Awesome. Piggy, the Festive. 3 colorless mana, 1 black mana, 1 red mana. Planeswalker, Pinky. +1, Piggy the Festive deals 1 damage to target player. You gain 1 life. -3, untap and gain control of the target creature. That creature controls haste, and at the beginning of the end step, sacrifice this creature. -6, each player reveals the top card of his or her library, puts that card into the top of their hand, and loses life equal to that card's covered further mana cost. You may repeat this process as many times as you choose.